Hey, how's it going, everyone? John from Notified by Studios here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Waves VU Meter. Waves is currently offering this plugin for free for Black Friday only, so if you've been looking for a free VU meter, now is your chance to get one. So a VU meter is very helpful in both mixing and mastering. Today we'll be using it to help us achieve a commercial level with our master. So the interface for the VU meter is pretty straightforward. You have three options for the size of your interface. It can either be small, medium, or large. You can adjust the headroom anywhere from 26 dB down to 4 dB. I'll go on ahead and put it back up to the default, which was 18 for right now. And then the delay for the graphical display ranges anywhere from 0 milliseconds all the way up to 1000 milliseconds. And this just helps you if you're using multiple VU meters across different tracks and you need to compensate for latency. So this LED right here is used to indicate if there's any clipping. So this top scale refers to the dB units, with 0 representing the signal's reference level. And this bottom scale down here, which goes from 0 to 100, is the percentage of power of the signal, and that's gauged in volume units. Alright, so on this master, I have a few things already set up. So the first thing that I've set up is just a little bit of a low shelf boost at 30 Hertz. And then I have this Alicia Alpha compressor, which I'm actually not using the compressor, I'm just using the soft clipping. I actually A and B'd the Alicia compressor and the Ozone 5 compressor, and for this particular song, I actually end up liking the Ozone 5 compressor a little bit better. And then I have Isotope Ozone 5 doing a few different things. First thing is I have a high pass filter at about 28 Hertz. And then I have just a little bit of compression, I think it's about like 1 dB of compression. And then a little bit of stereo imaging. And then we have our maximizer, which we're going to be using with the VU meter in order to raise our level to a commercial level. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the headroom for 10 just for a starting point. And we're going to bring down the threshold until we're about around 0 on the VU meter. So we brought the threshold down to 4, and it looks like that's about hovering around 0. And right now it brought up the level a little bit, but for electronic music, this probably isn't going to be loud enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reference a commercially released track that has been both professionally mixed and mastered. And I'm going to use that in order to help me gauge how loud my track should be. I'm going to do that by calibrating the headroom on the VU meter to the reference track. Alright, so it looks like the reference track is seen at about 4 dBs of headroom. So I'm going to use that information in order to calibrate my track, and we're going to bring down the threshold until we're seeing about the same level. So we brought the threshold down to 9.7. So let's go ahead and reference this track to the commercial track to see how they're sounding in terms of loudness. So the thing that I see that sticks out is right now I think 9.7 is just way too much. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dial it back some and see how that sounds. Under the window. Oops, that was the reference track. Let me just go ahead and switch back to our track. So what we did was we pulled down the threshold from 9.7 to 8.5 because I feel like not only is that a good level, but we're not over compressing the song and we're not squashing the dynamics. I also adjusted the headroom because even though the commercial track that we referenced was at 4 dB, this track is going to end up being at 5 dB. So it's a little bit quieter, but I feel like it's a good compromise and a good level for it to sit at without negatively impacting the sound. Alright everyone, so that was the Waves VU meter and how you can use a VU meter in a mastering session. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, feel free to give it a like. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Subscribe for future production tips and tutorials. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.